how to protect your ears. If you have ringing in your ears or your ears are very sensitive, then you're going to want to watch this video because we're going to talk about how to protect your ears. We're also going to talk about how certain foods can actually hurt your ears. And we're going to talk about what causes inflammation in your ears. Now, if you have ringing in your ears, this could be from many different things. It could be from some type of infection. It could be from too much earwax. It could be from too much pressure. Or it could be from some type of autoimmune problem. So there's many different reasons why you might have this ringing in your ears. Now, I had this problem several years ago, and for me, it ended up being a vitamin B1 deficiency. But let's talk about how to protect your ears. Well, first of all, you want to avoid putting anything in your ears. You don't want to put cotton swabs in there because that can push the wax in further or scratch the inside of your ear. If you do have excess earwax, see a doctor, get your ears cleaned out. That will really help to protect your ears from becoming damaged. All right, number 2, if you're going through a lot of stress, okay, you need to start doing things to reduce your stress because stress can affect many different parts of your body, and one of them is your ears. So you need to start getting more sleep, taking more naps, getting in the sun more, taking long walks, doing something to reduce your stress because stress can cause inflammation in your ears. So this would be things like taking a daily probiotic, maybe even doing a nasal irrigation with some saline solution to get rid of the inflammation from the allergies. All right, next one. If you're exposed to a lot of noise, you know. If you work in a factory, or you go to a lot of concerts, or you listen to loud music through your earbuds on your phone, whatever the case may be, you need to start wearing ear protection if you're being exposed to a lot of noise. The louder the noise, the more damage that can occur to your ears. All right, the next thing to do is to get your ears checked regularly by an audiologist, especially if you're a musician, okay? Or you re-exposed to a lot of noise, or if you have a family history of hearing loss. And so just basically they can check the inside of your ears to see if there is any signs of inflammation or any type of problem that is developing. Also, if you have a cold or an upper respiratory infection, you should consider wearing a scarf over your mouth and nose. Whenever you outside, because when you breathe through your nose, you can get a lot of viruses and infections through there that can go directly into your sinuses and even into your ears. So that could be one reason why you're getting these infections in your ears. Another reason is if you're not getting enough vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important in maintaining a healthy immune system. So you need at least 20,000 IU of vitamin D3 on a daily basis to maintain your immune system. And if you're deficient, you may have more susceptibility to getting ear infections. The next thing I want to talk about is the foods that you should avoid. If you have ringing in the ears, or you have some type of problem with your ears, avoid sugar. Sugar is very inflammatory, and it will deplete your immune system. You know, if you're going through stress, if you're exposed to a lot of toxins, if you're eating a lot of sugar, you're going to have a compromised immune system. Okay, and this can make you more susceptible to getting infections in your ears. So if you have this ringing in your ears, you want to cut out the sugar. You want to cut out the junk foods, the flour, the grains, the starches, the breads, the pasta, cereal, crackers, biscuits, waffles, pancakes, sodas, juice, etc. All right, the next thing is you want to avoid food additives and food coloring. These are in a lot of the junk foods and processed foods, and they can definitely affect your nervous system. They can create hyperactivity. They can create inflammation. They can create problems with your immune system. So you really want to read the labels on the back of the food and try to find foods that don't have additives and food coloring in them. Next one, alcohol. Alcohol is a toxin, and it can create a lot of problems with your liver, your pancreas, your brain, your heart, your blood vessels, and it can also affect your ears. It can create inflammation in your ears. It can create a lot of damage in your nervous system, and it can create a lot of damage in your brain. So if you're drinking alcohol, you want to cut that out. Next one is you want to avoid eating a lot of salty foods, because that can increase your blood pressure, and it can create problems with your heart, and it can create problems with your ears. So you want to eat very little salt. Start cooking your own food and just use sea salt or some other type of salt that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. Next one, you want to avoid corn oil, soy oil, canola, cottonseed oil, things like that, because these are inflammatory oils. They very high in omega-6, and they going to create a lot of inflammation in your body, so you want to avoid those oils. Instead, you can use extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil, or you can use butter, or you can use lard. Those are the types of fats that you should be using instead. And then lastly, you want to avoid food that are high in oxalates, because oxalates can create kidney stones, and they can create a lot of inflammation in your body. So you want to avoid spinach, you want to avoid beets, chocolate, nuts and nut flours, beans, tea, and certain herbs like in perilla and sorrel. So you want to avoid those things if you have ringing in your ears, because they could be creating some type of inflammation. So those are the things that you want to avoid if you have ringing in your ears. You want to make sure that you're protecting your ears from being exposed to too much noise. You want to make sure that you're not going through a lot of stress, because that can affect your ears. You want to make sure that you're eating healthy. You want to make sure that you're reducing your sugar and refined foods. And you want to make sure that you're getting on a healthy keto and intermittent fasting plan. Now, since we're on the topic of your ears, there are some other very interesting things that you should know about your ears that I put in another video, and I'm going to put it right here. Check it out.